Alright, welcome back and buckle in because we've got a long road ahead of us. About an hour's worth. Even after I shortened everything as much I could. Oh. But as you read that note, I did send something over to the toolbox to get used. I didn't quite show that off because I forgot to. That was Dragonair. I replaced Slam with Body Slam because by this point I was a little tired of using Slam. Although I did think that I did that later. No, apparently I did it as early as now, so... I also gave him Thunderbolt because I knew I would need another move with power points along this particular path if I wanted to get through it with as minimal backtracking as possible. I will make exactly one pit stop along the way, and it happens pretty early. So, I needed as many power points as I could, and I gave him Thunderbolt. Because why not? I still didn't give Critty Body Slam because of my reasons from before. But I hope you're ready for a lot of encounters because that's about all there is. Like I said, it takes me about an hour. This isn't the pit stop I was referring to. I just realized I had a full inventory and wanted to get rid of some stuff. Just in case I found some stuff along the way, you know. Alright, let's get started. We start off with some fishermen. Now remember, my mentality here was to try to swap between Pokemon as little as possible. So I'm going to use things up until level 35 or until they're running really low on power points or in just no condition to be fighting. So we start with Weed because there's a bunch of fishermen up here. And he breaks 100 hit points. He's actually closer than I thought to getting Razor Leaf. I thought he got Razor Leaf in the 40s, but he actually gets it at level 38, which isn't too far off. So he's almost ready to evolve. I don't think I've explained what I mean either, but most of you probably know, but for the couple of you that don't, there are some things in this game that require evolution stones to evolve. That was, you know, Thundercat did. I used the Thunderstone to evolve Eevee into Thundercat, or Jolteon. And I bought a Leaf Stone to evolve Weepinbell into his final form. And for the most part, you know, Eevee is the exception here. Because Eevee's final evolutions will still learn moves after you evolve them with a stone, but as you can infer from that, if you evolve something from a stone, it generally stops learning moves. I know one thing offhand that does. It, like, foregoes all of the moves that it would learn in order to learn one move way later down. For those of you in the know, I am talking about Nidoking. He'll learn Thrash later on. But yeah, if I would have evolved Weed with that stone, you know, when I got it, he'd have stopped learning moves and not learned the move that I need him to know, and that's Razor Leaf. Which Erica's knew, because she's a cheater. Although I might not be one to talk. But he's soon to evolve. And I was actually getting a little frustrated too, because, you know, I didn't quite know when he learned Razor Leaf. I didn't quite know when Persian learned Slash, and they hadn't learned it by this point, so I was getting a little frustrated. I didn't quite remember that. I don't think I even looked at that and kind of dedicated that to memory when I was selecting my team before even starting the game. Like, I probably registered it was late in the line, but didn't kind of think about that. I just hate how Gen 1 determined naturally learned moves because they're so weird about it. I'm trying to think because I looked something up the other day and it was absolutely absurd, but I don't even remember what that was. So I shouldn't have brought it up at all. Well, that's awkward. Thank you, me. Oh. See, I'm sitting here trying to think about it. I should be talking, I know, but I'm sitting here trying to think about it. I believe it was Moltres, which is a legendary Pokemon. It doesn't learn Flamethrower, which everybody should know in Gen 1. It's not the greatest in Gen 1, and, you know, it doesn't learn one of the two best fire moves, the one I would have preferred it to learn. But instead, at, like, level 70-something, it does learn Leer. You know, that's a worthy sacrifice. It was something like that, because I was looking up Moltres for no reason at all. And I noticed that, and I was like, it doesn't learn Flamethrower, but it learns Leer at, like, in the 70s. Why? At least I think it was in the 70s, you know, it was the other night, and I barely remember anyway. But some of the moves that... well, I'll get to that discussion some point in time later. Right now, we're encountering this Slowpoke. No, Snorlax. I've got my Pokemon confused now. We're going to wake up the Snorlax that was blocking us earlier, giving us access to Vermilion. And, we'll use that as our pit stop. You know, we barely got on the road by the time we started taking a pit stop. It's not going to really help us, but hey, every little bit counts, and Weed has 10 power points in Mega Drain and 10 power points on Vine Whip, so might as well restock that. Snorlax is pretty legendary. It's pretty hard to capture because he has high defenses. Will raise his special with Amnesia, and he knows Rest, which puts him to sleep for 3 turns. And completely heals him. And he's got an annoying catch rate, so if you want one, good luck. I'm pouring acid. I don't have sleep powder, but I wasn't planning on catching him anyway. Good night. Oh, I wonder how many people I have mad about that. There's only 2 in the game you can catch, you know. You knocked one of them out, you stupid. Oh well, I don't speed up this pit stop. I probably should have. I guess my mentality at the time was, well, we haven't really seen this route like this in this context, so I'll show it. And I'm sorry about that. You've seen this route before. I wasn't really thinking about it like that. You stupid. This is the second stupid decision I made in the past minute. Oh well. It's like it's a pit stop. It's fine. It'll give you a chance to rest up and take a drink before we set in for the next... 52 minutes at this point. Well, okay, it's divided into 2 parts, so you get a pit stop anyway. Unless you're watching this after both have been released and can watch them all in a row. Still, this road is... I kind of like it and I kind of hate it. I really like it when I'm, you know, adventuring and traveling along it, and I didn't develop a hatred for it until just now, actually. Because now I've got to watch it and keep my enthusiasm up and talk over it. And, oh, there's a lot. We meet another rocker. This is actually a rarer class than I think about. So I can't actually think of anything but him and the one in Lieutenant Surge's gym. Oh well, we'll pour acid all over his stuff. Because he used Light Screen to raise his special defense. Or have incoming special damage. I think that might be how it works. But he keeps on spamming it, and you might wonder why. He's already put it up, why would he use it again? Well, that's Gen 1 programming for you. You see, Light Screen is a psychic move, and Weed is part poison, so Psychic type is super effective against poison. And you're thinking, well, it doesn't do damage. Yeah, and that's an oversight. You see, the AI is programmed to use a type that would be super effective against what it's facing, so he's just going to sit here and spam the only psychic move he knows, even though it's not doing anything, because they didn't think to maybe program it to not do that. It leads to some hilarious moments. But here we have the fishing guru's brother. And he loves fishing as well, and you get the super rod from him. I don't like fishing, though. I think it's boring. At least when you're on your own. And here with friends, it's fine. That's different. Alright, and so there's some bushes here with cut, requiring cut to get behind with items and people. And I'm not going to bring Sandshrew along this trip, and I'm not going to go get him just to come over here and get that item. So that's an item that I will never get, and a person I'll never meet. It's just not worth it. You know, and I'm not going to teach someone on my team cut just for that. I won't even teach someone on my team cut to get to a gym. And that's actually important. Still, I do like the idea that they hide items behind cut bushes like that, you know. It at least gives that HM some value beyond getting a badge. It's just the move in combat isn't really worthwhile, especially considering you can't get rid of it. Yeah, Nidorino here evolves into Nidoking with the Moonstone. That was what I was talking about earlier with Evolution Stones. He's the one that I was referring to there. You can keep him in Nidorino and learn a bunch of different moves. And when you evolve him into Nidoking, he stops learning moves until, like, sometime in the 30s or 40s, he learns a move called Thrash. For some reason, he just learns that. I don't know why. Given the entire point of Stone Evolutions is that you get to choose when to evolve them, but they stop learning moves. I don't know. They do stuff like that in later gens as well. Like, one of my favorite Pokemon, and my favorite grass-type Pokemon at all, is Lilligant. It actually learns a different set of moves when you give it its stone to evolve it. So you have to decide what moves you want, so that you can decide when to evolve it, and you know, one of those moves is Quiver Dance, and that's a very important move for Lilligant because it's got a crap move pool, and every little bit counts, and Quiver Dance is kind of an amazing move. But if I ever get to that generation, we'll discuss that stuff then. You can probably be rest assured that I would use a Lilligant for that playthrough, though. Because I love that little thing. For now, we'll keep beating up a bunch of water types. I said I was going to 35, but since there's so many fishermen left on this boardwalk, I suppose we're on, and just water types in general, as this wasn't actually a fisherman, I decided to just continue using him till this point. I think I might be switching him now. Now I'm checking his progress to the next level to see if I want to continue using him, which I do. Get him that one extra level before I swap him. But 35 was my target number. Oh, and it's a bird type. Of course it is. Or a flying type, I'm sorry, not a bird type. Although if you look in the some of the unused files, you can see an unused bird type. I thought I read that somewhere. So it could be wrong. I could be mistaken. I haven't actually looked in there myself. I've only read about trivia stuff, and I saw that and thought that was interesting. You know, what if there was a difference between bird and flying type? I wonder what the difference would be. But that's probably an answer so stupid that that's why they got rid of bird type to begin with, you know? Or maybe it was bird type until they, you know, had other things that could fly and realized that they weren't birds. So they just renamed the type to flying. Yeah, that could be it as well. Assuming my information is even correct in the first place. You know, I've been wrong before. I've been wrong several times in this playthrough. Not that I can recall any instances to point out. We're almost done with the first set piece of the long road that we're on. You know, the boardwalk is just one. I don't want to call it 1/3 of the walk, but it's the first of the 3 set pieces because the second one isn't really all that big, but it's definitely an interesting area, and we're approaching it now. As soon as we get rid of this trainer, I believe it's the next thing up. There might be a trainer in between here and there, though, because I don't get through that area before the end of the video. And you're probably thinking, well, 36 is probably your target number for Bubba here, right? You're absolutely right. 36 is my target number for Bubba as well. For undisclosed reasons that you will see at some point, I don't actually get there. Has nothing to do with this Pikachu, though. He's a dead one. Man, she has a lot. They're all 10 levels lower than me, too, so... It's like she has quantity, but not quality. Whereas I have quantity and quality. She wants to become a good trainer, so she's going to train hard. Well, I encourage that. Alright, next set piece. The maze. That's right, on top of being on the long road, we have to find our way through a maze. Well, it's not that complicated, actually. It's a pretty easy maze. It's barely even a maze at all. Like, it's more like a road with a bunch of annoying posts in your way. And trainers as well. Like, there's a couple dead ends, but really you shouldn't get lost. It's just, there's a very long way, a very short way, and several in between, and a bunch of trainers in here, and we're done fighting fishermen, so we're transitioning into new types of trainers. The interesting thing about Payday is I think it's the winner who gets the money off the ground. Because if the enemy uses Payday on you, you still pick up money after the battle. Unless the move is, like, secretly set to take that money from you, I don't think it takes the money from you. I could have probably worded that a little better, you know. Yeah, I mean, the thought occurred to me that maybe, you know, Payday removes the money from your wallet and then scatters it on the ground, and then the winner takes the money, so if you lose, you don't get that money back. But I don't know if it does that or not. I doubt it does. I think it would just spawn money, like it does when you use it on enemies. But wow, I totally won. And I picked up $54 that you should have picked up yourself because you used the move, but whatever. I'll take it. It's my tip for beating you. Oh, this is such a long road. This is that moment when you realize we're not even at the halfway mark yet. It'd probably be shorter, but there's so many trainers on this road. Because the boardwalk didn't have that nearly as many as we're going to encounter on the last set piece. And in the maze, frankly. You know, the maze and the next part of the road, they make up the bulk of the trainers. They make up the bulk of the time you spend here. Maybe not, because again, we're in the maze and we're going to still be in the maze by the end of the video. So maybe not. Maybe I'm mistaken about that. What I do know is these Poliwags are making me angry, because they resist my water gun and my ice beam. And I'd rather use that than Mega Punch at this point. This Mega Punch is good a little earlier on, but it's not a good move. It does low damage. It has low accuracy, or not low accuracy, but it isn't 100%. Oh, I have the hiccups. Hang on. Alright, let's continue, now that I've gotten rid of those. Do you want to Pokemon with me? What is this? The internet in the 2010s? Where you're turning nouns into verbs? Yeah, sure, I'll Pokemon with you. Ah, who am I kidding? I do that too. Now, you can raise your evasion all you want, bud. Mega Punch is still gonna hit, miraculously enough. I don't know if this is true in Gen 1, but it's certainly true in Gen 2 and probably afterwards, but Minimize has some interesting move synergy with it. There are a lot of moves that have move synergy, where you use one move and another move will do better. In this case, it's the opponent uses its move and one of your moves becomes better. Because if they use Minimize and you have the move Stomp, Stomp's power is like doubled. It's the funniest move synergy. You know, in future gens, like, well, as of Gen 2, because again, I don't know if there is move synergy in Gen 1 or not, but in Gen 2, there's a move called Rollout. It's a rock move. And it can be used for 5 turns in a row. You use the move once and the Pokemon will do it for the next 5 rounds with ever-increasing power. And it's a neat move concept, but if you use the move Defense Curl before you use Rollout, the power is doubled, so it starts off at whatever, you know, it starts off at and doubles until, you know, the end is one of the most devastating moves in the entirety of Pokemon. Because everything's doubled, you know, it doesn't just double the first use of it, everything's doubled. So that's neat. I like move synergy. I don't know very much about it. Those are the only 2 that I can even think of. Well, I know as of Gen 2, if a Pokemon uses Fly, then your Thunder becomes 100% accurate against it, so that's kind of move synergy. It's negative, like the Stomp one I just talked about. It's the only way Thunder becomes really good. Alright, let's begin Thundercat's reign of death upon these cretins. Yeah, Thunderbolt, Thunderbolt, Thunderbolt. He's so boring to watch, isn't he? But, you know, he's the one I wanted to use. Because Flareon is really, really bad. And I didn't want to use him. And Vaporeon's a water type, and my starter's a water type, and I really wanted to use my starter. This isn't a run where I don't use my starter. I rarely do those, frankly. I love my starter. It was my first Pokemon. Oh boy. I've already started to lose my mind. That's okay. Only a few more minutes in this episode and then an entire other episode. I wonder if I should do something special next episode instead of just commentating over it. Maybe I'll give up this idea of commentary and just read a story. Or sing some songs or anything else. Other than trying to think of stuff to talk about. And, well, maybe hopefully something interesting will happen in these episodes, you know? Well, regardless, I need to keep my energy up, so let's stop moping about how it's a long road with a lot of encounters. And how Thundercat's doing the exact same thing over and over again. Oh, great, I could have sped this up, I imagine. Well, we are in an encounter with a biker, so we're going to be encountering a lot of these soon, because there's a lot of them on the road up ahead, and there's a lot of them on the bike road, which is the quick way to Fuchsia. That's the name of it. And the way I didn't take because I had to do this at some point, might as well do it first. And then just go to sell it on the bike path, or bike road, or bicycle road, or whatever that thing's called. Well, who's ready for some mischief with this bird catcher? Alright, you got a Pidgey. Well, I've got a Thundercat. I'll just use Thunderbolt and delete that Pidgey. Yep, that was indeed bullshit. That is the 1 in 256 error happening. Because of how attacks in Gen 1 are programmed, even 100% accurate moves have a 1 in 256 chance of missing. And it just happened to me. It probably happens a lot more than, you know, any of us realizes, because not every move is 100% accurate. So if it happens to a low accuracy move, it wouldn't be noticeable. But when it happens like that, especially on a fast thing like Jolteon, which has high accuracy anyway, you know, that's when you notice it, and that's when you get really mad about it. It didn't cause me trouble or anything, it's just, you know, that was bullshit. Man, maybe I do the maze faster than I thought. I mean, I'm not out of the maze by the end of the episode, but I thought I spent more time in here. Oh well. Yeah, you see Thunderbolt and Body Slam. I gave him. I'm sorry. I was tired of Slam being a bad move. And I wanted him to have another move for this long-ass road that I haven't used him for once. Even though it's his turn to be used, so I will start now. So he went from not that great to pretty decent, pretty quick. It's just he doesn't have the stats yet to really back it up. I'm just lucky that these things are so much lower level than me and unevolved for some stupid reason. The trainers in this game are stupid. Well, here's something that's evolved. He'll waste his turn. Alright. Gave him a chance by using Body Slam. I was just showing off what Body Slam looked like, instead of using, you know, a move that would one-shot that thing. But since this is a pseudo-maze, you know, there's lots of paths to take, lots of trainers elsewhere, lots of things to see, so I'm just gonna roam around for a second to see if there's anything I missed, and I get to read a sign for my trouble. I end up here, so I'll see you next time when we finish this maze and finish the road. Alright, have a good day. Bye.